Welcome to MMA Huddle. New people listening, thank you for joining in for this week, and hopefully we'll hear from you in the following weeks with comments and also kind of following us on social media. You can join us on the subscribe button down below on YouTube. If you're listening to us on iTunes or SoundCloud, hit that follow button so you can get weekly updates from the content we are pumping out here. Now, we are going to look ahead on the show. We'll have UFC 222, which is headlined by, here we go, Cyborg is facing Yana Kunitskaya-ish, yeah, we'll go with that one. Yeah, Kunitskaya. Yeah, there you go. She sounds like a Final Fantasy VII player. And we'll be doing the bets as well. Will's bets, we'll be throwing them out, people, and of course we'll be answering your questions at the end, which there are some interesting ones.
The first probably 7 fights of the card, and I managed to take it back because I was working. It was an earlier fight card, which I actually really like, even though I can't watch live. I think it's really good when the fights are finishing at 3 in the morning instead of 6.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, so good. Solid fight card, exciting fights. Some controversy in there. Just some good. It was just a really good fight card. I think it's one of the best ones we've had to start off the year, personally. And yeah, I'm looking forward. It was just a good with Cage Warriors as well. It was just a thoroughly good weekend. I think Titan was on the Friday, so it was just a really good weekend for MMA, and it's kind of moving on here to 222, and then we've got a little bit of break, which I'm actually looking forward to because. Someone that makes videos and does this, and it's like a lot of stuff to do, so a little break and then another break after London is actually, I'm kind of looking forward to that. So yeah, really solid weekend. Just a shout out to James Lynch and Adam Martin. Part and Shot podcast is back, and I was really surprised to see that. It's one of the podcasts I listened to for the longest time, and James is like me and you know how much James kind of helps everybody. He's helped us a lot. So just a shout out to that. If you've never listened to the Part and Shot podcast, go and find it online. You can find James Lynch's YouTube channel, and you'll find it through there. So go check them out.
I mentioned in the comments section when I type this up. I'll find the link and I'll stick it in there, people. So yeah. Anyone who's listening to this or following this, I'll find the link for YouTube and SoundCloud and iTunes, etc. I'll stick them in there. And like you said, it had gone for a bit, and then it came back. And they're not doing it every week; they're doing it sporadically.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's it's good fun. It's good engagement. It's good conversation. Because they did it live, didn't they? But the thing was, I won't lie, I was taking full advantage of being able to go to sleep at 3 a.m. I went straight to sleep as soon as that card hit the sack. I just pushed the laptop over. The laptop was spooning next to me, and I just went to sleep. I didn't care. I was gone. I was so happy I got those 3 extra hours. So, buddy, yeah, it was a great card on Fox. Some interesting results, some good results. On the betting side, though, Will, how did you do for the betting?
Another winning week. I had 3 bets. I can't remember who I gave out last week. No, I can't even remember that. But I had parlay with Mike Perry and Alan Jouban. Alan Jouban destroyed Ben Saunders. Mike Perry just looked... he just didn't look the same. He looked kind of gun-shy a little bit. I thought he looked tired. Needs a break. We'll probably have a long break now. So that was my biggest bet of the week. Lost that, unfortunately. Bet Ilir Latifi. He was an underdog. Liked him. Probably Friday afternoon, which was weird because I got a shit line. I got plus 113 and he went all the way up to plus 135, so I got the bad end of the line there. And then I was only going to stick with 2, and then as that fight was going down with Latifi, I went and bet Jeremy Stephens at minus 125, so he actually saved my night because I was having a losing night till then, and he actually saved it. So yeah, I've not had a losing card since early December, so I've been kind of undefeated for nearly 3 months now, so I know that's not going to last, but it's quite cool actually putting a kind of good run of kind of bets together and making profitable events. So hopefully I can finish off this one, have a little break, and be back for London.
Exactly, get yourself psyched for the London card. Okay, so bro, let's jump into UFC 222. A couple of changes on the fight card because people dropping out, etc. But It's happening. It's a pay-per-view card. It'll be interesting to see the numbers. Down at the bottom of the card, they have a light heavyweight bout starting off. Jordan Johnson against Adam Milstead. And Jordan Johnson has fought in UFC a couple of times already. Now, Adam's an interesting one to go into the kind of light heavyweight division. He was quite a thick-set guy at heavyweight. He wasn't like a 250 guy, but he busted his knee in that Curtis Blades fight. And I think he would have come back a lot sooner if his corner or he had just decided to stop a bit sooner. But he really messed up his knee in that fight. And I was surprised that he was okay in his comeback. I think partly because he wasn't training. He might have just lost some weight naturally. And that's possibly why he looked at the option and went, actually, I think I can make 205. I like Adam in this fight, if I'm honest with you. I think that Jordan has got some good kind of slick submission attempts, which catches people off for like a light heavyweight. He's quite slick with the kind of grappling exchange for the submission game. Dangerous. Like, he will bang and he will stand and he can take a hit. He's got a very good chin and he will throw down some wild, powerful shots. Like, he'll hit like 3 or 4 combos. Like, he won't hit like one shot and that's him done. He doesn't load up. He really does like trying to get a good like flurry in there to try and hurt people. I think Jordan's best way to get this fight is to get Adam getting a finish here and doing a really impressive run now.
Yeah, it's nice to see him back. I mean, he had a really rough time in that, like that Curtis Blades fight. He got fucking destroyed. Like he was literally. You could see when those two were in the cage together. Like this is the heavyweight against like a natural 205 guy, a natural big heavyweight against a natural 205 guy, and in divisions like heavyweight, you're just going to get lobbed around, and that's what happened. I think he got taken down like 8 times before he jacked his knee up. But that was the fight he probably needed to make his decision to go down to the division he should really be in. He shouldn't be in the heavyweight division. He's small for the division. It's a good fight. I like Jordan Johnson a little bit better. I think it's your striker against your grappler, and Jordan Johnson is a really good wrestler. Came in against Enric De Silva, got takedowns, and he got that, and then he went on to face Marcel Fortuna, and you can tell that the kind of better guys on the ground, he's going to struggle to get down, I think. Is Jordan Adam Milstead on that level of being a really good grappler? I think he's okay, but I think that Jordan Johnson eventually is very workman-like, where he will get a takedown and he might win rounds through that. But I see him getting messed up in the feet as well. So I've got Jordan Johnson, but it's by a very close split decision. I don't see it being big for one guy. So I think I'm going to go with Jordan Johnson via split, but I'm not overly confident in it.
Very interesting match coming up in the bantamweight division. You've got a kind of guy who's been in the bantamweight division for a long time, held his own, was tapping one of the most hottest girls out there, Misha Tate, got dumped. Brian Caraway, and he's stepping in and he's fighting Cody Stanman, who's like this really fundamental, strong dude, like very grappling based, which really then I think makes I like the fight, because I think, well, Cody, how keen are you to go to the ground? Because Brian Caraway will do everything to get a submission. He'll fishhook you to get a submission. He's done it before, and he'll do it again. Like, Caraway will get a submission if he can. I can't wait to see this. How do you see it going, bro?
Initially I liked the matchup, and I thought, right, this is a fight for Cody. And then when you watch some of the fights, you're like, ooh, Brian Caraway is one of those guys. He's one of those weasel kind of fighters that can win decisions. He can do enough to win rounds. And it's just an interesting matchup. It's one of those ones that taken my eye a little bit watching the fights here, because Cody Stamen, I knew about him before the UFC due to his record and a little bit of things that I've seen online, but he outstruck Tom Duquesnoy last time out. I thought it started off really slow. I thought Duquesnoy won the first round, and then he came into it in 2 and 3, and he got takedowns. So he mixed it up beautifully. I think saying that, maybe the majority of his strikes were on the ground, but he still did well on the feet to stop Duquesnoy implementing his game plan. And everybody knows I'm a big Tom Duquesnoy fan, I really am. But Terry and Ware, he came in there on short notice, a division up, and he outstruck him. And Terry and Ware is not your greatest fighter, but he's a decent striker, a decent boxer. And it seems like the UFC are just throwing all the talent towards Terry and Ware because he's against Tom Duquesnoy next, and he had Sean O'Malley before, so it's weird how they're doing that. I think he has to have a kind of a game plan where he has to get takedowns, but I don't think he can stay down there because, like you said, Caraway is very dangerous, and he's going to be looking to somehow get the back and hold on because he's got really good control, and he showed that in the Sterling fight, where initially he started the fight very badly, but then he got takedowns and then he can control the fight, and he took very little damage in that fight to win a split decision. I think I'm going to pick Cody Stamann, but it's going to be another one of these close decisions. By the way, I just feel sorry for Brian Caraway. He literally went out with Misha Tate for 7-8 years and never got her pregnant. Then as soon as she leaves him, she goes to another guy and she's pregnant straight away. So yeah, Cody Stamann, I'm going to pick him via close decision, but it's an interesting fight, and Brian Caraway, I think, has a chance to win the fight.
Yeah, maintenance is going to kill me paying that to her, but you know it was worth it. It was worth that 3 minutes of pleasure. So yeah, so Cody is a guy who, like you say, he's just always learning, always growing, and I think that Duquesnoy fight was a key fight. I think Duquesnoy though was tentative to throw that much strikes because of the takedowns, and I think that's what really put off Duquesnoy in the fight. It was the worst fight for him because he couldn't be who he is. But that's MMA. You should learn and adjust to who you're fighting. Now, Caraway, I think Stamann can actually catch Caraway on the feet because Stamann did show some good strikes. And I think that's when Stamann will only show, like, we'll call him Cody. Cody's only going to see the takedowns when he feels there's a bit of pressure on him. And he might, just like you say, I think he might get the takedown, get into guard, hold him down, just do what he needs to, secure that takedown, maybe get stood up again, and then carry on the fight. You know, not do anything silly, not silly scrambles. Just pick away at Caraway on the feet because that's very easy to do. A lot of guys have done it in the past and they can do it again. He can pick him apart. The thing is, though, what's Caraway been doing apart from crying his heart out since he last fought? We don't know. Maybe he has been working his striking game. Maybe he's went and just like trained hours upon hours upon hours on his striking game. I don't think he will have, but I don't want to look past Caraway too much. But I think Cody will do enough to get a decision. I think Cody's wrestling is very it's going to probably be quite underrated until this fight, and everyone will see how strong his wrestling is and how powerful he is. So yeah, I'm going to go with Cody on this one. Decision. I think that wrestling kind of and output on the feet will probably put Caraway off. Next up, Mike Pyle is having his last ever fight. He's going to be hanging up his gloves after the fight with Zach Ottawa. Mike Pyle with a beautiful mullet. He's known for that. He's a legend of the game. He's been around for a long ass time. Like, he's been around a while, like 42 years old now. It's that year, man. We're starting to see a lot of the greats kind of go. Some of the legends of the sport, and I think Mike Pyle definitely fits into that criteria because he's been around for a long ass time. And he's one of the big factors that play into this for me. Got in there to hold it. Like, Zach can hit hard. I think Zach's going to want to take it to the ground is the best way to put it, people. Because if you stay standing with Mike Pyle, there's a chance. You can hurt him, especially now after he's shown his vulnerabilities. But also, he can hurt you. He's just a very well-rounded striker. He's got good strikes. But I think you might see Zach try to wrestle this fight out of the way, just get that W, not take too many risks. And if he can hurt Mike standing, he'll try and hurt him. But I see this being a Zach Ottawa kind of win here, and just getting the 3 rounds and getting out of the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure Mike Pyle can take a shot anymore. I think that if you catch him with not even a big shot, I think a fairly decent place shot, you can put this guy down. I think although he's a guy that I've never really rated since I've seen him, to be honest with you. I was told that this guy by Mike Biggie Rhodes actually told me, and like there's a little bit of beef going on with the guys. There always has been. in Milwaukee, but he told me, and I went and watched, and I didn't really think there was too much there. I still don't. I think he loses to fairly decent fighters like Sergio Moraes and Li Jingliang, where he beats guys like Kunamoto and Josh Buttman, who you've seen are clearly not UFC standard anymore. Is Mike Pyle UFC standard anymore? I don't know. I think he's one of those guys, a lot of the pros talk about him when they train with him as being one of the best guys they've ever trained with, but he just never transfers into the octagon. It'd be nice to see him get out in the win here. I would actually like him to go out in the win. I just don't trust his chin, so I'm going to pick Zach Otto to knock him out.
Nice, like it. Next up in the middleweight division, we have Hector No Neck Lombard against CB Dollaway. How are you going to see this fight going down, man?
This fucking fight. I've been looking at it, watched a few fights, and then I seen last week CB Dollaway still suing those guys for the elevator incident at UFC 203, where the elevator, something happened, and it's jacked his back up, and he says that for the rest of his life he's going to have problems with his back, and I'm like, a week before a fight and you're saying that? So yeah, I've never been like, when Dollaway was winning fights, and I think he got a main event slot against Lyoto Machida. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like, cause he's a decent wrestler. I don't think his striking's good. He sticks his chin out there, and he was knocked out by Lyoto. Bisping just outworked him, and then Nate Marquardt knocked this guy out as well. So he needs to wrestle. I don't think he's going to get Hector Lombard down. So is he going to stand and strike with Lombard? Which, to be fair, he could knock Hector Lombard out, because Lombard, as the fight goes on, his chin just completely disappears. And one, like I was saying with Mike Pyle, one solid shot and he will go down and you can stop him. I think I'm going to pick Hector Lombard, which is something I don't think I'll be doing again in the UFC. I thought he might have got caught, actually, because he is a guy that's on probably a fairly decent wage for the UFC, and he has lost fights. It's like, it's hard to kind of see as well. He's actually lost 4 in a row. I thought he won one in between there, so maybe this is his last fight. I don't know, but if he doesn't win this one, he's going to get the boot. Yeah. But I thought he could have won that Johnny Hendricks fight. But 3 of his last 4 losses, he's got knocked out, and so it's like, you're dicing with death with this guy. I'm going to pick him, but no confidence in the pick at all.
I am going to pick. Here you go. I'm just going to get the salary up here for the last when was this one? 2016. Probably be around the same then. Let's get the salary up, because like you say, he's going to be probably on a few quid. Where are we? Where is he? No. Where are you, Hector Lombard? 53,000. So it's not too bad.
Oh, I actually thought it was more than that.
I thought it'd be more than that, but that's not too bad. That's when he thought Dan Henderson got smashed. Yeah, CB Dollaway, if he can use his body kicks, which he can, I think he can hurt Hector with those, get the body hurt. I definitely see him having the potential there to really affect Hector's cardio. Hector's very patient now, because he hasn't even got 3 rounds in him, because he's so jacked off his. Well, he's just so jacked. It's like a thicker Yoel Romero. I'm gonna go with CB. I'm going to CB on this one, because I think CB Dollaway can throw longer strikes, which will catch Hector off, and I think that's what Hector likes to do. I think, yeah. So I'm predicting CB Dollaway for the win. Now, next up is a fight which, look at this card. I went, I'm sure John Dobson's just fallen down. It's really hard because he's so low.
Well, they were supposed to fight a couple of weeks back, I think it was, in Brazil. So, and I picked Dodson then. I'm not going to change now. I think I'm trying to remember what it was, but if I remember, there was a story like that there was no hot water in the hotel.
Yes,
I think that's what it was. So yeah, but like I say, I think the better striker, the faster striker, is John Dodson. So if this is going to be what I think it's going to be, which is a fight which is going to take place in the feet, I think even though John Dodson really doesn't throw as much volume as he used to, he picks his shots, really not that good, and sometimes he loses rounds because he's in activity on his feet. But I just think he can find the chin of Munoz, and Munoz needs to catch on to something, and I don't think he's going to do that. I think John's just going to be a bit too fast for him and rebound after his couple of losses to win a decision here.
I like that. I like that. Okay, next up we have Beneil Dariush, who's a monster, with a fresh face on the block. Alexander Hernandez, who's stepping up short notice, you know, stepping up to the block and coming into the UFC. Lightweight showdown. How do you see this one going, my man?
Yeah, tough. It's a tough spot to really come into UFC against a guy who is a top 15 guy. So, but initially when I thought that, I thought, right, oh, it's a newbie coming in. I thought this is going to be cannon fodder for Beneil Dariush. And then you go and watch some of his fights, and you're like, oh, this guy's actually quite good. He's actually going to. I think he's going to be one of these guys. He's going to come in here. He's going to lose the fight, but he's a guy I think that's going to win fights in the UFC. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he's got submission skills. I think he's got grappling, and I think he's got knockout power as well. So when you mix all those three together, with him being a young guy as well, I can see him winning fights very, very soon. Now, he was supposed to fight, I think, on the day after. Actually, I think he was, or the month after. So he was getting into fight shape. So the UFC have obviously recognised this kid for a little bit. He's got an 8-1 record, I think, 9-1 record. So a decent record to go into UFC to. Beneil Dariush is just a very good fighter. He's solid everywhere. I love his leg kicks. I think he's got some devastating leg kicks. And yeah, not only I think it's cocky and he underestimates this kid. I don't see him losing this fight. But you never know what could happen. I'm going to pick Beneil Dariush. I think initially Hernandez might start well, but I think when Dariush starts to figure him out, what he's doing, and then obviously the levels that he's climbing here, I just think he will find a way to take him out. So Beneil Dariush via stoppage in round 2 or 3.
Yeah, I like that prediction. I was thinking the same. I was thinking 2 or 3 starts to really open. I think Dariush, when he gets that initial figuring out of what Hernandez has to offer, he will start to open up a bit more. I think Dariush would be smart to just hold off for a moment, see how it reacts, and then just react to the speed at which Hernandez will fight. But the Hernandez, like you say, he has got some good submissions. He is a good grappler. But you're facing Dariush, and I feel harsh on him because I'm like, dude, the guy you're facing is not the guy you want to face with your strength, because he is a legitimate grappling world champion. So I feel really bad for Hernandez. It's the wrong time, the wrong guy to step in and face to show. Hernandez might come a bit unstuck here in this, like you say. He has a legitimate organisation, weight division, just not right now. I think he's just going to do the business as usual. And he promote Mackenzie Dern as best he can. She fought. I think that was the deal. Was the UFC?
Yeah, I like. I like Mackenzie Dern. She will take a lot of shit, and she has finally seen online because, like, the UFC, they've been wanting to sign this girl since she was in back in Legacy, the LFA, because really she's absolutely stunning. She's got that jiu-jitsu background, and she's won medals. She's did all that. She won Abu Dhabi Cups and so on. So yeah, a good setup match for her. Now, if she doesn't win this, but she's still young in her career, so it's like she's not even been a pro for 2 years, like a year and a half, and she's up. To be fair, she actually beat Montana Stewart. She's in the UFC now, so she's beat decent girls on the regional scene that are now in the UFC, who've won fights in the UFC as well. So UFC, I thought, did well with her putting her on Victor. Gave her a good opponent in Kalina Medeiros. She came out there. It was close to start off with. Her striking is very green, very, very green. But she does swing hard, and if she hits you with one of those shots, she can hurt you with it. But obviously, if this fight hits the ground, against girls like Ashley Yoder's level, she's going to devour easily, I think. And I think Ashley Yoder's the kind of fighter with the kind of bad fight IQ that is going to give her the opportunity, or even she might try and take this to the ground to prove a point. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. So I like Mackenzie Dern. I think she'll find a submission. I think it'll be a little bit scrappy. like a fight was with Medeiros, but eventually it's going to hit the ground at some point, and she's going to find a submission. And so Mackenzie Dern via submission.
And kicking off the main card, the pay-per-view card, is a fireball of a fight. Oh, gosh darn it. You have Cat Zingano is back again fighting.
This was one I was looking forward to seeing, because Cat Zingano was a girl that, or a woman I should say, that is, well, she's definitely not a girl, she's definitely a woman. Let's put it that way. She's not like the young girls that we see nowadays, but we, to be honest with you, she's been in the UFC for 5 years. We've barely seen anything of her, but she's beaten good girls. I mean, she beat Takeo Hashi, she beat Raquel Pennington and Invicta, Barb Honchak, she beat her a way back as well. She beat Misha Tate, she beat Amanda Nunes. They went on to be UFC champions. The only thing that worries me about Cat Zingano is just that inactivity. She doesn't fight all that often.
She's been out injured, you see, that's the thing, hasn't she?
Yeah,
so
she's had injuries.
For a while, yeah.
And people have come in and she lost to Rousey. That was just, I think, stupidity on her part. And then Juliana Pena, I thought it was a close fight. Initially, I was with Caitlin Vera. So I've been, the last day or two, I've been thinking, oh, this is a close fight. So this afternoon around 5 o'clock, I had a couple of hours with my little one was here having her dinner. So I just put Fight Pass on the TV and I watched all of Caitlin Vera's fights and I watched all of Cat Zingano's fights. Starting with Caitlin, she came in against Kelly Fairschultz, showed that she has got really good grappling, really good wrestling, and she can find ways to take it to the ground. Second fight, she showed her hands off against Ashley Evans-Smith. Combinations looked on point. She looked stronger, she looked faster, and I was really impressed with her striking in that fight, and she had takedowns in it as well. The third fight, she had the Sarah McMahon fight, which we talked about last week, where she got taken down in the first round. She got, no, I wouldn't say beat up, she got hit with a few big shots, she had a big knot in her forehead, but she got completely dominated, just like Sarah McMahon does in the first round, completely dominates fighters. But then she came out and she took down the Olympic medalist, and from the minute that fight hit the ground, it was done, because you could see Sarah McMahon's face basically saying she was going to quit. So she found a way to a submission. I don't think the submission was on that tight. I think that Sarah McMahon was just waiting for the opportunity to make it where it looked reasonably tight to take the opportunity to tap out, and she did it. Now, Cat Zingano, her striking's shit. I'm going to come out and say it. Her striking's not good. At distance, it's not that good. In the clinch, she's deadly. She throws elbows, she throws vicious knees, like you've seen in the Tate fight. Yeah. So that's where she's very dangerous. She is, I think, she's the strongest girl in the division. Like in that fight with Julia Pena, she was belly to belly suplex, and she was thrown around. The Amanda Nunes fight, she was like grabbing her by the head and a guillotine choke, and then just flipping her on her back. But she does, in that fight with Amanda Nunes, she got put on her back early. She struggled, she got hit with a lot of shots. Amanda Nunes kind of gassed herself out, probably to say. Then she came into it. I think this is outside Edgar and Ortega. I am really looking forward to this fight. I think it's a great fight the UFC have put together. This young girl coming through who's really not beat anybody against a girl in Cat Zingano who has shown she can beat top class fighters, but has she slowed down? Because if this fight is just going to be in the clinch, on the mat. I think they're going to be sweeping one another. I think there's going to be submission attempts, left, right, and centre. Great fight. I am really looking forward to this fight. If you haven't guessed already, I thought the Pena fight was very close. She definitely won round one. She started off round two well, but then she got stuck on her back, which surprised me because she usually finds a way to get back to her feet or sweep and be in the dominant position, and she didn't do that. So maybe the little bit of explosion that she had has maybe left her. Who knows? I like the fact she's at Alliance. That camp is thriving at the minute. They have great game plans. I'm going to go with Cat Zingano via decision. Initially, until this afternoon, I was picking Caitlin Vera. I think she's the stronger girl, and if she can get top position like she has done in previous fights, she's going to win the fight. I think she can beat up Caitlin a little bit. She has to keep her there though. But I see them exchanging positions. It's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm picking
Yeah.
Zingano via decision.
It is a stupendous bout. I am looking forward to I'm looking forward to, like you say, the clinch, and she sees Kat throw those knees, maybe grab the knee to get us training with absolute monsters at Alliance, like you see there as well of female of fight. She had a bit of time off. I think as a fighter, she's got strong. You can't let these losses happen for all the kind of fallouts and rejig of the card. And I couldn't believe they actually put this down as a co-main event. I was a bit shocked, if I'm honest with you. Andrei Arlovski against Stefan Struve. It's no disrespect to both parties. Andrei Arlovski, he's a legend of the game. He's a former UFC heavyweight champion. Fought the who's who of heavyweights. He's been hit too many times for my liking. He's been put to sleep too many times. If you've watched the UFC Countdown show, he talks about having another run for. It's a tough one. You've got two guys blitz to hit Struve, and Struve's not very good at moving back with his. Struve's done his homework. He just has to learn how to counter. If he can just do a counter hook, like a nice little counter left hook in there, just to catch Arlovski, he'll put him down. Because Arlovski's been dropped before by rushing in. But I think, oh gosh, it's such a hard one, this one, Will. It's a horrible one to pick. I'm going to go old school. I go Arlovski, stopping Struve.
With Arlovski as well. I think I was completely fading him in his last fight against Junior Albini. I think Albini got that step up a little bit. To be fair, Arlovski he lost 5 in a row before that fight.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So it wasn't that much of a step.
Yeah. He's clearly he's fading back a little bit, but he fought. I thought he picked his shots beautifully in that fight, and I think he's at American Top Team now. And
yes,
they've got a lot of fairly decent heavyweights to spar with and get yourself ready for a fight. I thought he fought within himself and showed the experience that the guy obviously has. Now, he's against a guy here who's got loads of experience himself, but he's coming off a vicious loss in his hometown against Alexander Volkov, where he got outstruck a lot.
Yeah.
He got outstruck and he got taken down in that fight as well, and he got stopped. I think he's going to be one of these guys where he wins fights and then loses fights, but I just don't feel confident picking him. I don't really feel confident picking Arlovski, but I like what I've seen from Arlovski in his last fight, where he fought at distance, picked his shots, and didn't get caught with the bombs that Albini was throwing. So I'm going to pick Arlovski. It's a fight. It's a heavyweight fight that I'm going to say I'm not really looking forward to, but it'll probably end up being pretty exciting, I think. And I think Arlovski can maybe knock out Stefan Struve here, so I'm going to go Arlovski via TKO in round number 2.
Okay, nice. All right, so next up is a brash kid in Sean O'Malley taking on a tough opponent in Andrei Sukhomov. How do you see this going down, Will? It's an interesting matchup.
It's a good fight with two young fighters. I'm a fan of Andrei Sukhomov. I think that I was so happy to see that guy win his last fight, because I think it was his last fight of his contract. Or I don't think it was his last of his contract, but I think that if he lost it, he knew that he was going to be cut from the UFC, and the UFC have went and given him a new contract because of his win the last time out. He took out Luke Sanders. It was a little bit cat and mouse. There wasn't much thrown between them. There wasn't much action. But eventually, he found that big shot and he put Luke Sanders down, and it was a vicious knockout as well.
Yeah, it was.
Very vicious knockout. And to be fair to him, the fights beforehand against Albert Morales and Alejandro Perez, he could have won those fights. So I think he's a really solid fighter. And he's got a pay-per-view bout here against Sean O'Malley. The reason he's in this pay-per-view bout here is because of Sean O'Malley. UFC want to push him because he got a little bit of notoriety in the Dana White show. I thought they gave him a very tough matchup against Terry and Ware. And he started off, he throws, the one thing that I really like with Sean O'Malley, his angles are brilliant. He throws at great angles. And he throws, I think if he doesn't throw everything in the one shot and picks his shots and just concentrates, maybe hitting him with a jab instead of throwing a big hook or a head kick, and just takes his time, don't rush it, because eventually your knockouts will come once you start picking the right shots and you start hitting another guy. He did that against Terrion Ware, where he caught him with the right shots, but I did think he was a little bit rushed, because Terrion Ware is an in-your-face boxer who wants to strike. He got takedowns in that fight as well, so he mixed up. But he also, in the middle of that fight, came through a little tough patch where Terrion Ware was starting to put it on him. That's what I like to see from young fighters. When I first heard about this matchup, instantly thought I really like Andre Sukumta. But then I went back and I liked what I've seen from Sean O'Malley. It really just refreshed what I liked from that fight with Sean O'Malley against Terrion Ware. So I'm going to pick Sean O'Malley here. I think as long as he doesn't leave his chin in there and he doesn't stay stationary, which he doesn't really do, he wins the fight here. So I'm going to pick Sean O'Malley via decision. It could be a very close decision, though.
I've been on the fence the whole time with this, because I'm curious to see how Sean handles a big hard strike from Andre. You know, that's my only question. I'm thinking, because cutting angles is fantastic. It's very good to avoid strikes and evade strikes. But when a guy just swings a shot out there and you're moving into that strike, you kind of bring an emphasis onto the power. And I think Andre might get that. And I want to see I'm curious to see how Sean bounces back from it, how his chin is, how he retaliates. Yeah, Sean O'Malley's striking, I think, like you say, if he would just tone it down with the power on a couple of shots, do a Diaz style, pepper, power, power, I think he will find a lot more success with landing those bigger shots, because he's just throwing, he'll have more energy a lot more at a time. So yeah, I'm going to go with, I'm going to go for the upset. Andre's going to do the upset decision. It's too tight. It's such a horrible one. Because I think that Holloway for the 145 belt, pretty much Frankie's last shot at the title. We can all admit that. I don't think he could have got another shot. And I think him and Frankie, him and Uriah Faber have probably the most title fights between the two of them. But man, Frankie Edgar, he has got a heck of a fight, because he's fighting Brian Ortega, who is not the best striker. He's not a bad striker, don't get me wrong, but he's not the best striker. He's one of the best grapplers, though, by a country mile. He will latch on to something and he will squeeze that till it pops. And I am worried for Frankie in his fight. And the reason why I'm slightly worried is because if you look at Brian Ortega's fights, the times when he gets those guillotines is usually when he's fighting guys who and then wraps the legs on and then just cinches that in. Frankie's that type of size fighter where Ortega, if you can get him against the cage, hold on to him, get over the top, he can start to go for that. Now, Frankie's in his own right a black belt as well. Frankie's had a lot of submissions in MMA. You know, he's had more than Brian has. He's at the top level. I think Frankie's an absolute savage. I'm going to go with Frankie, though, because I kind of feel like it's impossible to go against him, because he somehow pulls it out the bag more times than I can count. I think that his wrestling could nullify Ortega's jiu-jitsu. Similar to like the Cub Swanson, where he just holds him down and just keeps it so compact and just little elbow, little punches. If it goes down there, but if it's on the feet, Frankie's got such a horrendously high output and angles and movement, and he can take a hit as well. I'm gonna go. I'll just go Frankie. I feel like I can't ever go against Frankie. He's just too awesome. It's a horrible one.
Yeah. First thing I'm going to say is Cyborg, Kunitskaya should literally just fuck off somewhere else to another card, and this should be this should be 5 rounds. Like, it's a travesty that this is not fucking 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Because I think over 5 rounds it turns into a really interesting fight. Once you condense it to 3 rounds, I think, in my opinion, it makes it more favourable for one guy, and that is Frankie Edgar. I've not really been on the Ortega bandwagon, but the kid has got some legit skills, and I've been feeding him I picked Moicano against him. I picked Swanson against him. And he's shown what I like about him is he's shown improvements with everything. We know his skills on the ground are always there. They've always been there. His striking, I think, is actually really good from what we've seen early on. It's very accurate. He picks his shots well, and he's quite a big guy for the division as well. So he looks physically bigger at fight time. In that fight with Swanson was hitting him with a lot of shots, but the shots that Ortega was hitting him with were having an effect. I think he's got really good low kicks, really good body kicks. And that submission at Cub Swanson, at the end of that first round, he took him down, and it was the same with Sarah McMahon. You've seen that sheer panic where he was shitting himself. He's like, oh my God, I've never felt anything like this. And he got saved in that first round. Second round, the way that guy latched onto that guillotine, then readjusted it in midair, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. Honestly, I couldn't believe what I actually saw, and I think all the pros and they were going nuts with something like that because you just don't see a guy, and you don't see people do that often. That's talent, pure talent. I went back and watched every Brian Ortega fight in the UFC. I even watched a couple outside the UFC. This guy gets taken down, and it's all about where you put your head when you take this guy down. He caught Renato Moicano when Moicano kept his head still. If you're going in for a takedown, you can't keep your head still. You have to maneuver off straight away because if your head's there, his choke is that lethal that he's going to catch you with something. Now, I think Frankie Edgar is far too experienced to get caught with something like that, especially with the amount of times he's probably drilled that stuff in the ground. If you go back and watch the one fight, it's a great fight, by the way, Thiago Tavares fight. Second fight in the UFC, he gets taken down 6-7 times in that fight, easily. The guy, but what Brian Ortega does, he's very dangerous. He never stays stationary on his back, and he's always looking to sweep and looking to throw submissions up. And that's enough to stick in your head to make you shit yourself that if you make one mistake, this guy is going to find a way to sweep you or grab a submission on you. I would love to have something like that if I was a fighter, where you could bring your back in the position where you think you're not going to get hurt, and then you end up getting choked out in the space of a second. But he, like, even from his back in that fight, he beat the shit out of Thiago Tavares. He cut him up badly. Like, he had like 4 cuts in his head and one side of his face. So this guy's deadly. He's like I said, I've never been his biggest fan, but I love watching him fight because you see progression with his striking. His ground game is as legit as it comes, I think, in the UFC. But this is a big fight against a guy who is just perfect in some of his game plans. Yair Rodriguez fought a perfect fight, but what he did do in that fight is that he kept his head. Once he was taking Yair down, Yair went for a couple of guillotines, but I don't think he was overly threatened by the guillotine, so he wasn't really worried about it. He will be worried about doing it in this fight because you cannot leave your neck in there for this guy because he will literally, he's got one of those squeezes that you don't even see coming in before you know what you're tapping out. So if he avoids that, I think he wins the fight through takedowns, loads of takedowns. Like I say, if it was over 5 rounds, this fight gets interesting. But 3 rounds, I'm pretty big on Frankie Edgar this week. I think he's I love this fight. I really do. I'm just pissed off it's not 5 rounds. But I'm going to pick Frankie Edgar via decision. But with Brian Ortega as well, he finds late finishes, so you can't rule out this guy. So brilliant fight.
It's so good. I am gutted though. The one fight I want to see is Brian. I love to see that. I think they both just sit down on their butts and scoot to each other. It'd be amazing.
We've got legit guys like Damian Maia is a legit control guy, and he will find a submission. This guy's got deadly submissions where if you give him the slightest opportunity, you're tapping out. I think he's like
he's an opportunist. He's a very good opportunist.
If he ever had a fight with Oliveira, I think he would submit Oliveira. I think he did not actually knock him out.
Probably knock him out, but I'd like to see the grapple. Yeah, I'd like to see the grappling.
I think this guy is most, and it's quite a big thing saying it with people like Jacare, Damian Maia. I think he's the most legit guy on the ground that the UFC has, which is saying a lot. Now, I might be talking out my arse there, but that's just how I see things. I love what I see from the kid.
I love his guard. One of the best guards I've seen for a long time.
He's a really young guy as well. So if he loses this fight, this is not a bad thing for him personally. So looking forward to that fight 100%.
Oh yeah, I'll be jacked at 5 in the morning watching that fight. Next up is the main event, which will, like you said before, you'd really looking forward to. Cris Cyborg against Yana Kunitskaya. How do you see the featherweight title fight go down? Now they've had to make the title fight because it's a pay-per-view card, and they have to have a title fight on there. And last thing you'd want is an interim title, bloody, because Holloway's out for a couple of months. But yeah, how do you see this fight go down, bro?
Well, it was obviously a fight that they threw together very, very quickly once Max Holloway was out. Nobody's going to pick Yana Kunitskaya to win this fight, pretty much. If I see anybody picking Yana Kunitskaya, I'm going to be saying, "Are you on something? Do you see, like, you must know something that nobody else does?" Because it's just a good fight for Cyborg. I think she can. I don't think she has to like bull rush. Like she bull rushes fighters in the past. Since she's come into UFC, I don't think she's did that near as much. Plus, I think she is facing better caliber fighters than she was beforehand. So, Yana Kunitskaya is one of those Jackson fighters who picks and pops her shots. No real power. I think she's a little bit dangerous on the ground, but Cyborg's a black belt, and I think she's probably a really good black belt. We just don't see it. In that fight with Holly Holm, big power punches. She's got that there over anybody in the women's MMA division, pretty much.
Fifth round, she was
fifth round, throwing big strikes. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Cyborg to win via probably TKO in 2 or 3, but yeah, it's a fight, really a nothing fight, because the division's so fucking stagnant. There's nobody in the division. After this, it's like, who do you really give her? So, yeah, I'm gonna go Cyborg.
I think it's more the case of it's a business position. It's Cyborg is the
Cyborg's
best there is. And she legitimately though is the best. Like she's went around the world, beat the crap out of everyone, and that's it. It's a fact. Like there is no one else for her to beat the crap out of. There's another girl for her to fight. If she wins again, it's like maybe Cyborg might fight another time, and then she might call it a day. Because to be fair, what else can she do? There's not much else. No one else around. Ronda Rousey didn't want anything to do with her. Ronda Rousey legitimately was scared to fight her, and we all know why, because she would have got battered, and that's why she kept saying you got to come to 135, because she knew she couldn't make the 135 cut. That is the only reason she said it. And now Rousey's off to do her fake fighting, bless her. But anyway, yeah, Yana, I take my hat off to her. She's stepping in. She's fought at 145 in the past. She feels more natural at 145. The 135 cut is horrible on her. If you've seen her do the weight cut, people, she looks terrible doing the 135 cut. So 145 suits her to weight class. That she's a more natural feel to it. I'm looking forward to seeing it happen, because I want the difference is there. The grappling strength is there in Cyborg. And I just think for Yana, she gets a fight in the UFC. I don't know if she'll maybe drop down to 135 after this, because she's done it before. She might just think, I'm just going to drop down there. See you later, girl. Get myself in there. Like Tonya as well. I step in, 145, drop down to 135. At least I'm in the UFC, getting paid, happy days. Rather than on Victor FC, where you'll be getting paid, but not as much. I think it's just a case of, there's only one girl out there, Megan Anderson, who she could face. But then again, Megan's been so inactive because of her visa issues that she's had. We don't know when that's going to happen or when that's going to be cleared. And to be fair, she's been out for that long. Like, how good is she going to be? You know, can Megan take a hit like we think she can, or can she not? We don't know yet. We've not really seen her fight a good striker. She fought, who was it? Peggy. What's her name?
Peggy Morgan.
Who's woeful. Do you know what I mean? Lit her up like Christmas tree, but anyone could. So it made her look better, potentially better than she actually is. But we'll see. We'll see. Big time, boom, boom, boom. We've got lots and lots of odds here.
The bet shit, but you've seen what fights I'm really interested in. So the fights that I put a lot of time into are ones that I'm going to be looking at, even though I might not end up betting them, but because they're matchups that really interest me. Kat Zingano is an underdog, and I did say at the start of the year, if I'm picking underdogs, I really need to be throwing money on them. As I screamed about Marion Renault last week, and then I didn't bet her, and then she goes and wins. So it's like really stupid in my part. But I like Frankie Edgar. I hope his lines come down. So hopefully Ortega gets some steam before Saturday's fights, and if I can get minus 150, he's minus 164, I think, best I've seen in the UK. If that can get down to minus 150, I will go on that personally. I think for parlay pieces, if you're looking for an accumulator, I think Mackenzie Dern has got a pretty tailor-made matchup here where she should get a win. But I thought that last week with Mike Perry as well.
Yeah.
So be careful with fights like this. But it is Ashley Yoda who's fight IQ is not great. I think John Dodson could be a good bet. I don't know what the odds are actually in him. Let me check.
So he's minus 160. I can see here. Our average about 160 or so.
Yeah. So
it's variable. It goes up and down a couple of sites, but on average about 160.
Yeah, I think we've got a 140 here in the UK somewhere.
There's a 157, 149.
So 140. William Hill's.
Yeah, there's a 170. I've just averaged as best I can. Yeah.
It's flickering between different sites, which you always go on to oddschecker.com. Oddschecker.com in the UK over here. It's got all the bookies with different odds, and then you can check what's going on there. But I might put together John Dodson and Mackenzie Dern in a parlay because I want to do one every card because I just like parlays, like 2-team parlays for plus money if you can get it. So like I find my strategy that 3 bets a card works for me, and really all you need is 2 out of the 3 to cash. So the couple of people I'm looking at, I don't want anything in the main event. I think it's just a fairly easy fight. I think Sean O'Malley's an underdog, isn't he? Sean O'Malley. He is an underdog.
He's plus about 115 on average, 115-ish.
That I
got 120. 120's been on some places.
I don't think that's a bad bet personally. I think it's a close fight though. So you have to be. I see him plus 129. They've got him over here, a site that I'm looking. So that's good value, I think, for a close fight, which he could win. So that's kind of where I'm looking at round about now for the fights.
Yeah, I was going to say Kat Zingano. Yeah, she's on average, because I've seen as low as 104 and I've seen as high as 128, I think it was. So she's about on average about 115 or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mackenzie Dern high. She's by a mile. It's not even. Yeah, but yeah, the Christine Cyborg fight. Yeah, don't even. Oh my gosh, those. I'd actually put £1 on Yana, and I'll make a few quid out of it because she's plus 1,000 essentially. Which for £1, I'm not. Come on, would you not do that? Would you not do that, Will, for a pound?
A pound, your lunch money.
Exactly.
Yeah, throw it on.
Why not? You never know. One punch can end it all. You never know. She could do it. Let's have a look at these other kind of odds. Mike Pyle to lose. Yeah, okay. Mike Pyle's quite a. He's around average 200, just on 200, plus 200. Stefan Struve is about Orlovsky's plus.
It's like Orlovsky. If he's I've not even looked at his odds. 15-8. So wow, he's there's some value on Andrei Arlovsky there if you think he can fight like he did the last time. Personally, so there is some value to be made in this card if you think that your picks are coming. If you've got a fighter in mind you think is going to win, there's value there. So just be careful, like in some of these fights. Last week when it hit Friday, I put on like 2 bets, but I actually thought of just putting single bets on underdogs. I think I had Tisha Torres, Marion Renault, Ila Latifi, and there was one other one I was going to do. Was it Russell Doan, which would have been the worst bet in the world. So yeah, they were who I was looking at, but I managed to change it around, bet Jeremy Stevens instead and Latifi with the parlay. So yeah, I think there's value to be made in this card personally.
Fingers crossed there's another profitable weekend for you, Will, and everyone else at home listening. Again, if you put any bets on this weekend, feel free to put them down below in the comment section and let us know how you did at the last card as well. We're more than happy to talk about that. There are likely to be a couple of cuts.
Russell Doan might be one that gets his walking papers because he has lost 4 of his last 5.
Yeah. And
there's some fights where he just does not do anything at all. Like that fight, I don't know what his game plan was because it was shocking.
It was go to the ground with one of the best grapplers in MMA.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what his plan was.
Yeah, if Russell Doan gets cut, no surprise for me there. Eric Shelton, Albert Morales, they could both get cut as well. So there's definitely guys that could be cut there. I think Maria Monroe's, I don't think she's that. I think the UFC should get rid of her. She she swings at air, but they'll probably keep her around because they can feed girls to her.
I have no interest in ever watching any of her tape study ever again.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't do it anymore. I literally don't do it because it's the same shit every fight. Regarding,
I thought it was women's tennis playing tennis when I walked away from the screen. It was awful.
Yeah. Regarding some fights being made, I like Jeremy Stevens against Darren Elkins 2 or Jeremy Stevens against Jose Aldo. The other fights I would put together if you can. So,
good.
Latifi, we spoke about this earlier on. I'm not going to. All I'm going to say is it better not be a main event for a certain card in May. But maybe Volkan Ozdemir would be a decent fight in Europe on a main card, not a main event card though. So a main event. So I haven't really looked into too many. Usually I do that. Sometimes I do that if I get time on a Sunday. I'll put matches together, but I just haven't had the chance this week. But yeah, it was a solid card.
Yeah, it was very good. Another comment is from Make Money is the name, and his handle is at it's Nok Suk. Oh, so NOK 519.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful there. This kind of joins in with another tweet. He said, "Talk about Colby Ratchet Horseface tweet." And then if there's someone else tweeted about that as well, didn't they? Give me a second. Oh, here we go. Yes. Adam Sean, at Adam Sean 292, he said, "Has Colby taken it too far with his most recent comment about Mrs. Perry?" Will, what is your thoughts on the ever impressive, beautifully, elegantly spoken Colby Covington?
If you've listened to this before, you know that I'm not the biggest kind of Colby Covington fan, but I thought those tweets were gold. I thought they maybe went a little bit too far, but I thought some of them were quite funny. I thought the one thing I remember was when I was watching the Mike Perry fight, she's screaming, break his leg," and she's his head coach. So Mike Perry needs to do something about that.
Well, she made a comment, didn't she? She responded back on Instagram saying that basically no one was there when we were down in here, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's great in the regional scene, but you're not in the regional scene now, sweetheart. You're in the big boy league where big boys are playing with real coaches and real knowledge, and I'm sure she has a good grasp. But when you say kick him, break his leg, well, guess what? When he kicked him, he didn't break his leg, so you need to think of a new tactic.
Yeah. Colby Covington's going to do anything to stay in the limelight and get that fight with Tyron Woodley. Like, he came out, I think it was maybe yesterday, and says Tyron Woodley, you cannot say anything to Tyron Woodley because he just claims that it's being racist. Yeah. So he's just
he's clinging to that title fight, which he doesn't deserve. It's amazing.
He's not going to get it. He's going to have to have one more fight to get that title shot because they're going to make the RDA fight. So he needs to face like a Kamaru Usman, and he doesn't want to face Kamaru Usman. He's blocked him on all social media. Yeah. He doesn't speak of him.
No.
So he doesn't want to fight him, but that's the fight I think to make to see who's the next #1 contender. But
what about Ponzinibbio?
He can make that fight. It's weird because they're both American top team guys.
But it's tough titties.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean? When it comes,
it's like Joban and Saunders at the weekend there.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
They both fought and they were fine with it, but it's interesting whether that happens or not. It's a different thing. But I think he needs to take. Like Kobe's he's trying to keep his name out there, and he's doing it. He's doing it. To be fair, so
yeah. He gets people talking. You know, he says something.
A little bit out of line, but if he's keeping his name out there, then
just to get his name out there. That's all it is. Business for him. He's trying to talk himself into a title fight which he doesn't deserve. And we have also from Adam a couple more questions. He said, "Who do you see headlining the Dublin event?" The UFC announced they're going to Dublin again. And do you think the UFC will heed the feedback from London? London, they won't give a shit.
They don't give a shit.
They do not care. And if anyone tells me that they do, I will happily tell them they're speaking a load of bull. I will kick them in the bollocks and say stop lying. Because they don't. That's rubbish. But headline events, we spoke previously tonight about this off air. I said you could do Darren Till against Gunnar Nelson as a headline event, or you could have Michael Bisping have his retirement fight, potentially against Rashad Evans. And a third one, to throw it out there, because it's a Fox card, you could have a big name event with Paul Felder facing someone in the lightweight division, stepping in.
Yeah. I think for me, I think Darren Till and Gunnar Nelson are going to get it personally. I'd be surprised if I see anybody else in that main card spot. I don't know, it's hard, but I think Darren Till is the guy that people want to see fight.
Yeah.
And Gunnar Nelson is the guy that's going to bring fans from Iceland to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go, you're selling tickets straight away. You're going to get the Liverpool contingent easily. Yeah. There's going to be loads of people from Liverpool at that fight card if he's on there. So I've got a funny feeling that fight's going to get made and we're going to hear about it very, very soon. Would it surprise me if something else was the main event? For me, yes. But I'd be excited for Till versus Gunny because I'm still not sold on Darren Till. I've said this before. But I am a fan of Gunny Nelson. I always have been. I like his kind of aura. I like the way he fights. He's just a solid, like a really nice, quiet guy who's a bit of a killer when he wants to be. And that Ponzinibbio fight, it was a bit of a smelly one when you go back and watch it. He definitely got fouled a couple of times.
Yeah, two eye pokes, both eyes.
Yeah. But like I say, it's on the officials to find these faults, like the St. Stevens thing at the weekend there. So it's, I think they'll make that fight. I don't think they give two fucks about the feedback they get from the London card, and especially when they've got Bellator that have announced a card for London, which the two fights they've announced, MVP is going to sell tickets anyway, but Musashi against Carvalho is a good main event, a really good main event. So for a guy that Musashi headline UFC cards, so they're not going to give two fucks about the what they've heard from UFC London.
No, they won't. Even when we speak to them in Dublin, they just won't care. They'll come up with some cock and bull excuse. So next question he asks again. Dana White posted a tweet, a picture on Instagram as well of him and the all-natural Brock Lesnar. Will, I'm sure you were excited as well about the potential of Brock Lesnar maybe coming back. So his basic question here is, if Brock returns, who does he face? I don't think he returns. I think it's just a picture of them two together, mainly because Dana White was probably watching Ronda Rousey sign a contract and they were probably in the same vicinity or something to do with that maybe, or they were about around the same area together because this whole shenanigans were going on in the wrestling. But if he would return, you'd probably maybe, I don't know, John Jones. But John Jones, we don't know what's going on with him. That's the problem, isn't it?
John Jones.
That's the only fight he would make.
I think he signs. Personally, I think you will see him fight in the UFC this year. His contract with WWE finishes in April, so he's not obliged to sign on.
Yeah.
But then he's got a 6-month ban from USADA, so maybe December, I think we see him fight. I think the UFC know the John Jones situation is going to get cleared up because Malky Kawa, the guy who is the manager of John Jones, he's saying he's 95% positive he's going to be fighting this year.
Yeah.
There's heat from when John Jones called out Brock Lesnar. If they make that fight, that's doing big numbers. Huge numbers. And that's what the UFC need. If you don't have Conor McGregor fighting for you, you're not making big money pay-per-view fight. No. You're not. That makes over 1 million buys, in my opinion.
Easy.
The only person else that does that is Conor McGregor. So as soon as I saw that picture last night, and I went and looked at what Lesnar's contract when it was up, and it's after WrestleMania in April, I thought, and he's wearing a UFC shirt, and they've did that in the past before. Anytime that he's been pictured with Brock Lesnar, he's fought again. So I think they know what's going on with the John Jones situation. I think that fight's going to get made this year. I'll be I'll be super surprised. And especially if DC, if he goes and wins the heavyweight title, he comes back, beats Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
then they're going to make DC against Jones 3. They're going to, for a different belt, they're going to make that fight.
And that would be huge.
That would be huge. Two big money fights.
That'd be John Jones as well, going for two titles as well as DC getting 2 titles.
Yeah.
It's huge in its own right.
2 huge fights that are going to make UFC money, and that's really what it's all about.
Yes.
I think they make that fight. I'll put it down. I'll put that as a big asterisk. So maybe come back later in the year and I say, look, I told you they were going to make this fight. I think they know what's going on, and they're putting this fight together. So I think by maybe December, I think we might see John Jones against Brock Lesnar.
Gosh, could you imagine John Jones? Because he just get pinned down by Brock. I just can't see John Jones getting up.
Yeah, Ben, it's such an interest. That goes back to the old days, pretty much. Like kind of freak show fights. You've got this thin guy against the guy that's absolutely jacked out of his tits.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's interest. It's like it's got dollar signs written all over it.
Yeah. John Jones needs to learn how to sweep, not sprawl. Sweep, because you're not going to sprawl Brock Lesnar. You're going to sweep them. Let the momentum take it and keep going with it, because I can't see him stopping it. Like, how many people can't stop the Brock takedowns? You know what I mean? He just hits like a freight train at you.
I think he can submit Brock Lesnar off his back. I've got a funny feeling he's got that in his arsenal, but we've never seen it.
I don't think he can ever get a triangle on Brock, and the reason why I say that is Brock is so broad. Like, to get the triangle choke, you need to be able to get your calf over the back, and it's Brock Lesnar. But I think John Jones might foul. Like you say, they don't care about. That's the one thing that really pisses me off. But really good names out there.
I never saw that one.
Will and John. I think they're 2 very good names.
I never even seen that question. I don't know how I missed that one. I don't know. Call him the Huddle. Call him Huddle Shown.
Yeah, Huddle Shown.
There we go.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Or Stipe Shown.
Yeah, I've got
Immigrant mentality. Or you could do Hodger.
the wee Brazilian twang, like Hodger.
Hodger Shown. Or Gracie Shown.
Yeah.
I think something like that would work really well. Or Vanderlei. Vanderlei Shown. Now that's a name, isn't it?
Cyborg
Shown. Vitor. Yeah, because they can mix that. Make the child an MMA fighter. The Cyborg Show. There you go. Cyborg Shown. Or you could do Vitor. I think Vitor. You can stick that on there. There's some great names out there, I think.
Make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen, Adam. I swear, Adam. If you name your child any of them, I will be so happy.
I'll buy your ticket for the next UFC. Here we go. If you name any of them, in fact, I'll buy your ticket for the next UFC. I'll make it VIP as well.
Yeah, all the boys will buy you. We'll all chip in and we'll get you a VIP ticket to the UFC if you pick those names. I think that's all the questions off the top of my head. Let me just quickly double check, bro.
This is going to be the last fight card before a little bit of a break. So enjoy it. I think there's some good fights to be excited about this weekend. And then I think the next one's the London card. So
indeed, yeah.
Yeah, majority of our listeners will probably be, or some of them will definitely be going to the event. So they'll be looking forward to hearing some chat about that. So just enjoy the fight card this weekend, and we'll speak to you all very, very, very soon again.
Boom. There we go.